This is Tamara. Tamara is an accountant who suffers from common variable immunodeficiency, which is a primary immunoglobulin deficiency and is characterized by an inefficacy to produce clinically effective immunoglobulin responses that make up more than 150 different diseases affecting the human immune system. Due to this, she is prone to recurrent infections such as pneumonia, sinusitis, or infections and gastrointestinal infections. These infections, if left untreated, can lead to organ damage such as the sinuses causing chronic sinusitis or the airways of the lungs causing bronchiectasis. Non-infectious complications of CVID include autoimmune disease, granulomatous disease, and tumors of the immune system. To treat her CVID, Tamara will need to use Evogam. Evogam is made of human plasma. It contains a sterile solution made up of 16% of plasma protein, of which almost all are human immunoglobulins. These immunoglobulins can be used as replacement therapy to fight disease when the body lacks antibodies. Most commonly, Evogam is used to fight bacterial and viral infections. The way Evogam is used is through small needles or pen-like devices and administered by subcutaneous infusion, never intravenously. This is due to a variety of factors including but not limited to infection, time taken away from hospital staff and doctors, as well as quality of life for patients not having to go to and from the hospital on a regular basis. The appropriate sites for this include the lower abdomen, thighs, upper arms, and hips and the fat beneath the skin. The best site for the injection from patient feedback is the lower abdomen. Evogam must be administered subcutaneously. If it is inadvertently administered intravenously, patients could develop shock. Reactions that have been reported with intravenous treatment include hemolysis and renal dysfunction, but may
Number of special warnings and precautions for the use of Evogam. Evogam can cause adverse reactions in patients who receive human normal immunoglobulin for the first time. Reactions such as pain, itching, local heat, or erythema may occur where the injection was first given. These reactions are usually mild and reduce over time. Severe reactions to Evogam can occur. Patients who have predispositions to these conditions are at greater risk. Hypersensitivity. Patients who have a known allergy to constituents of the preparation should be cautious when using Evogam. There are traces of immunoglobulin A in Evogam which seldomly may provoke anaphylaxis in immunoglobulin A deficient patients with anti-immunoglobulin A antibodies. Thromboembolism. There is an association with human immunoglobulin administration and thromboembolic events such as myocardial infarction, stroke, or deep vein thrombosis. Patients who suffer from obesity or pre-existing risk factors for thrombotic events should be cautious when administering Evogam. Aseptic meningitis syndrome can occur several hours to 2 days following immunoglobulin treatment. Symptoms and signs include nuchal rigidity, severe headache, fever, photophobia, drowsiness, painful eye movement, vomiting, and nausea. AMS may occur more frequently in association with high-dose immunoglobulin treatment. Evogam has been proven to be therapeutic in patients suffering from autoimmune disorders. It has helped in reducing the incidence and severity of infection, and as a result prevented long-term deterioration in organ function. This is evident in a study done by Empson and colleagues which proved the efficacy of Evogam in treating a variety of diseases. All 35 patients showed physical and mental improvements after treatment. An annualized rate of 2.82% per patient was reported for non-serious infections. There were no reports of any serious bacterial infections, meeting the FDA criteria for strong evidence of efficacy, specialized as less than one serious bacterial infection per patient in a year.
Luckily for Jane, primary immunodeficiency disease is more common than previously expected. It should be noted that as many as 1 in 3 people of the general population suffer from a type of immunodeficient disease. In 2015, the distribution of patients diagnosed with primary immunodeficiency disease based on a study conducted by IUIS Expert Committee for the Classification of Primary Immunodeficiency noted that 53% of the global population are antibody deficient. Many patients with primary immunodeficiency disease are either undiagnosed or misdiagnosed, and over the last decade, improvements in molecular diagnosis and genetic sequencing have led to a better understanding of the immune system, as well as treatment and improved quality of life for those living with primary immunodeficiency. However, the prevalence of primary immunodeficiency among the general public remains challenging, as there is a need for improved and timely management of these conditions to fully regulate an accurate consensus of the population affected by primary immunodeficiency. Regarding a patient with immunodeficiency disease, the dose of Evogam must be individualized for each patient based on their body weight, measured IgG, and ongoing clinical response. The dosage interval for each patient varies, and a weekly intake between the range of 0.05 to 0.15 grams per kilogram body weight is highly recommended. Evogam's therapeutic use is evident in patients with immunodeficiency and symptomatic disease. The dosage in Evogam falls within the consumer law prohibition for therapeutic treatment use. Evogam does not fall underneath the pharmaceutical benefit scheme and costs roughly about $46.58 for 16%, 0.8 grams per 5 milliliter, and $186.33 for 16%, 3.2 grams per 20 milliliter.
There are various tests it must go through before becoming a legal product. The process to make this medicine, of course, starts with an idea in the laboratory, following chemical and animal experiments as it's tested to see if it's a viable option for human trials. The drug is first tested on healthy participants to ensure there is no significant adverse effects, as well as to figure out dosage. Phase 2 involves testing how safe the medicine is for those with the target illness with a relatively small subject group. During Phase 2 of this particular trial, it was seen to be sound, with no significant ill effects to those participating, as well as figuring out a 1-to-1 dose having the effective results for the participants had to be treated for primary immunodeficiency. Phase 3 involves testing it on a larger subject group. This tests its effectiveness and safety, leading to a better analysis of the treatment's effectiveness. Phase 3 clinical trials are then evaluated by the Therapeutics Goods Association and must meet the minimum requirements. They must also keep to those level of requirements with regular inspections and reviews that include but are not limited to: all start and end materials are collected, evaluated, and approved for use using the correct channels. Before distribution, all batches are tested and evaluated for discrepancies. All manufacturing manifests are kept up to date and are readily available for inspection. Detailed written instructions for all processes are available, and any significant changes are made and approved before introduction. Of course, the TGA needs to make sure their rules are being followed, so inspections are mandatory. The frequency of planned and unplanned inspections is guided by the risk involved with production, the organization's compliance history, and its size. Though Evogam is collected and processed by the Australian Red Cross, its sponsor is the CSL Behring Proprietary Limited for both Australian and New Zealand production of Evogam. The latest safety data sheet being published on the 4th of the 4th, 2017 was seen to be in accordance to the Safe Work Australian National Code of Practice for the preparation of safety data sheets.
Evogam has helped Tamara struggle with common variable immunodeficiency. It has provided her body with antibodies that have helped strengthen her immune system and as a result lowered her risk of severe infections. Thanks to Evogam, Tamara is now living a much healthier and happier life.